Hi, this is the third screencast, and this time we're going to focus on another database called JSTOR. Now, JSTOR is a database you'll be using regularly in ninth grade world history class, and that's why Mrs. Delao would like it included in this project, so you get exposed to it now so that when you get to ninth grade, you'll have some sense of how it works, and it'll be a much easier transition for you to doing the types of research projects you'll be expected to do in ninth grade. So under e-resources, I'm going to click on JSTOR. You'll be provided the login information by Mrs. Delao. And okay, I'm going to start my search. Now, if you remember, what I'm interested in is the spread of Islam along the Silk Road to China. But I'll start a general search to show you, once again, how to narrow down, how to be specific with your search terms to narrow down your results. So I'll start with, Islam spread, and that gets me 46,000 results. Too many. In fact, I'm not interested in the spread of Islam everywhere in the world, so I can add one search term, China, and now I've got it down to 15,000. So much better, but still too many in terms of managing all of these, having the time to look at all of them. Relevance is the idea that you want to only look at information that really connects to what you're truly looking for. And so if you're not specific enough, you end up with articles that don't really relate. They may have the same terms, but they don't really relate to the research question you're trying to answer. And so I need to be a little more specific and say, well, I'm really focused on the Silk Road aspect, how it moved along the Silk Road. And now I'm down to 1,500 results, much more manageable than the 40-some thousand, but still quite a few. And so I'm not yet done refining my results. I'm going to try to narrow it down even more. And I have a few options here on the left. I can narrow it down by the source. And so perhaps with EBSCO, you've already read a lot of articles, and maybe you're thinking, oh, I should read some book chapters to kind of mix it up and look at different sources. Or in this case, primary source. I have no primary sources yet, all secondary sources. So maybe I could look at pamphlets. And in fact, maybe pamphlets are easier to read from an academic language point of view than some of these journal articles. Now, just real quickly, JSTOR reading level is probably the highest of all the databases. These are the database is filled with mostly articles, but as you see, book chapters and reports written by college professors. So there's a lot of academic language used, and so it will take time to read these, as you may end up having to look up words that you don't know. The writing style can be different than what you're used to, harder to follow. That said, once again, you're going to be expected to use this in ninth grade, so we just want to give you some exposure to it now. So I can narrow it down by content or primary source versus secondary source. I can specify publication date, but since this is not a current event, I don't really care about publication, but I do care about the specific topic. Like, I'm not interested in China, Silk Road, Islam that as relates to agriculture or aquatic sciences. What I'm really interested in, and hopefully narrow down my results. Yep, oh look, I can get it down to 324 if I just click on history. I'm interested in historical spread, the history of the spread. And so now I've got 324, which is so much more manageable than the 46,000 that I started with. But once again, 324 is a lot. So I have one more option. I can show snippets, and it'll give me a sample text from each of the results that with search terms highlighted, that'll give me a better sense of whether this is the source that really connects to my research question. And so I'm going to look at the title, I'm going to look at the sample text and make my decision about whether to open it. Just because it's listed first doesn't mean necessarily that it's the best fit for me. That's called relevancy. Does it really match what I'm looking for? In this case, though, it looks like it could. The spread of Buddhism and Islam, Silk Road legacy. I look at the text. The text actually doesn't really help me that much, but the title sounds really promising, so I would open it up and start reading. If I read it and decide that this really does help me, I'm going to take notes on it, and I think I want to use it in my final product, then I can cite this item right now before I lose track of it. I can copy and paste the MLA citation into a Google Doc or however you're keeping track of your citations. You can also download this article as a PDF, and you've saved it now onto your laptop, and you don't have to come back to JSTOR to look for it and try to remember how you found it. And so that is JSTOR in a nutshell. Once again, this is going to be the most challenging database in terms of reading comprehension. The use of academic language in a lot of these articles may require that you use a dictionary. It will definitely require you to slow down and when you're reading these articles, for example, to really slow down and make sure you're understanding what the writer is saying. Okay, good luck.